I'm 89 years old, and most mornings I wake up surprised that I did. Not disappointed, just surprised. Like someone left the light on after everyone else went home. I'm sitting at a small table by the window as I say this. Same place I sit every day. The street looks familiar and strange at the same time. I've lived long enough that everything has changed twice, and now it's changing again without asking me. I'm not telling this because I need forgiveness. I'm telling it because there isn't much time left to keep quiet. When you reach this age, people assume you've made peace with things, that you've figured it all out. The truth is quieter than that. You don't figure things out so much as you stop arguing with what's already true. What I understand now didn't arrive with a bang. It came slowly, too slowly. For most of my life, I thought I was doing fine. Better than fine, actually. I worked hard. I showed up. I paid bills on time. I kept my promises, at least the obvious ones. From the outside, my life looked respectable, solid, the kind people don't worry about. And I believed that meant I was getting it right. In my 20s, I was busy becoming someone. That's what it felt like. I had a job that didn't mean much to me, but it paid better than the one before it. I told myself meaning would come later. First, you build the structure. Then you decorate it. I got married young. Not too young, but young enough to believe love was something you secured by being reliable. I was good at that. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't unfaithful. I thought that was enough. We talked about the future the way people do, vaguely, as if it were a long hallway that would always be there. Children came along. One, then another. Busy years, loud years. Shoes by the door. Lunches packed in a rush. I was tired a lot back then. Not the tired you feel at this age, a different kind. The kind that makes you think rest is something you'll earn later. I missed things without realizing I was missing them. A school play I said I couldn't get off work for. A dinner that went cold while I stayed late just this once. Conversations that started with, "Can we talk?" and ended with, "Never mind, nothing dramatic." That's the part people don't tell you. The damage didn't arrive like a storm. It settled like dust. I told myself there would be more time. I told myself this was temporary. I told myself everyone lives this way. And maybe they do. Or maybe they just think they have to. In my 30s and 40s, life sped up. Responsibilities stacked on top of each other like plates you don't put away. I was proud of being needed, proud of being the one who could handle things. I didn't notice how quiet my house was becoming. I didn't notice how my wife stopped telling me small things. I didn't notice how my children learned not to wait for me. When you're younger, you think love is loud. Big gestures, milestones, anniversaries. What I know now is that love is mostly interruption. It's letting yourself be pulled away from what you think matters. I didn't let myself be pulled. I remember one evening clearly. I was maybe 45. I came home late, briefcase in hand, head still full of numbers and deadlines. My daughter was sitting on the stairs. She asked if I could help her with something. I said, "In a minute." She nodded. She always nodded. By the time I was ready, she was gone to bed. I never asked what she needed. That kind of moment doesn't haunt you right away. It waits. It grows teeth later. The years kept moving. My children grew into adults I admired from a distance. They were polite with me, kind. They called on holidays. We took pictures together that looked happy. I told myself that meant everything was fine. My wife and I aged side by side, but not always together. We shared space. We shared history. We didn't always share ourselves. There were things she stopped expecting from me long before I noticed. When she got sick, it wasn't sudden. It was the slow kind. Appointments, medications, a chair moved closer to the bed. I was there every day. I did everything I was supposed to do. Still, there were things we never said. She died on an ordinary morning. The kind that doesn't warn you it's about to become a line you'll never step back over. I held her hand. I told her I loved her. I meant it. But love spoken at the end is a different thing than love lived in the middle. After the funeral, the house felt enormous, not because it was big, but because it was empty of conversation. I reached for my phone often. Then I put it down. I didn't know who I was calling for. That's when the quiet really started. Retirement was supposed to feel like relief. No more alarms, no more meetings. I had all the time I used to say I didn't have. But time without purpose is a strange companion. It shows you things you were too busy to see. I started remembering moments I hadn't thought about in decades. Not the big ones, the small ones, the almosts, the laters. The next week that never came, I realized how often I chose what was urgent over what was important. Because urgency makes you feel useful. Importance asks something else from you. I realized how often I waited to say things because I wanted to say them right. As it turns out, unsaid things don't care about timing. Friends began to disappear. Some moved away. Some passed on. You don't notice the circle shrinking until you look around and realize how few chairs are left. I attend fewer gatherings now, partly because it's harder to get there, partly because I don't want to explain myself anymore. Old age strips you down to what's real. You stop performing. The turning point, if there was one, didn't come with drama. It came one afternoon when my son visited. We sat across from each other, coffee cooling between us. He was telling me about his work, his kids. I listened. At some point he stopped and said, gently, "You know, Dad, I wish we'd talked more when I was younger." He didn't accuse me. He didn't sound angry. That was almost worse. I wanted to explain. I wanted to tell him how hard I tried, how much pressure I felt, how I thought I was doing the right thing. Instead, I nodded. There are moments when explanation would only protect your pride. That was one of them. After he left, I sat there a long time. I understood then that some bridges don't collapse. They just never get fully built. There are things that cannot be fixed at 89. I cannot go back and sit on those stairs. I cannot hear the question my daughter never asked. I cannot give my wife the version of me she waited for. I can be kind now. I can be present now. But now is smaller than it used to be. That's the part no one prepares you for. Not that you'll make mistakes. Everyone knows that. It's that you won't realize which ones mattered until the window is closed. If you're listening to this and you're younger, I won't tell you what to do. I don't have the authority for that. I'll only have my life. What actually mattered wasn't the job title. It wasn't the approval. It wasn't being seen as dependable by everyone except the people who needed me most. What mattered was attention. Undivided, unhurried, given before it was requested twice. What mattered was saying things when they first showed up, not when they became heavy. What mattered was letting myself be inconvenient to the world so I could be present at home. I thought providing was love. It is part of it, but it's not the whole. I don't regret working. I regret hiding in it. Now my days are simple. I water a plant that keeps leaning toward the light. I read the same book in small pieces. I wait for calls that come less often than I'd like. I'm grateful. Truly, I lived a long life. I was loved even when I didn't know how to receive it properly. But gratitude and sorrow can sit in the same chair. I've learned that. If this meant something to you, maybe sit with it for a moment before moving on. That's all. As for me, I'll finish my coffee. I'll watch the street a little longer. And I'll hold what's left of my time more gently than I held the rest. That's what I understand now.